Finding my tribe at the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. When I first heard about the Rubber Tramp Rendezvous RTR, I wasn't sure it was for me. I've always been more of a solo traveler, keeping to myself in the quiet corners of public lands. But when I learned about the Women's RTR, WRTR, I felt a pull I couldn't explain. Something about connecting with other women on this nomadic journey felt necessary. So I packed up my van and made my way to Quartzsite, Arizona. The desert stretched out endlessly before me, and with every mile closer, my nerves tightened. I didn't know what to expect. Would I fit in? Would the other women be welcoming? From the moment I arrived at the WRTR, I felt a warmth I hadn't experienced in years. Women of all ages, backgrounds, and experiences greeted me with smiles and waves. Some drove vans like mine. Others had school buses, SUVs, or even tiny cars they'd turned into homes on wheels. It didn't matter what we drove. What mattered was the shared journey. The workshops were incredible. I learned practical skills like solar panel installation, managing waste on the road, and finding safe camping spots. There was a session on self-defense that made me feel powerful and prepared, and another on cooking with minimal equipment that inspired me to try new recipes. But it wasn't just the technical tips that made an impact. The emotional support sessions where we sat in circles and shared our stories were what truly cracked me open. I met Lisa, a former corporate executive who gave up her high-powered career to find peace on the road. Then there was Maria, a single mom traveling with her teenage daughter, teaching her about independence and resilience, and Ruth, a widow who had felt lost until she found her new family of nomads. Their stories resonated deeply with me. In one of the smaller group discussions, we talked about overcoming the stigma of living in a vehicle. For the first time, I didn't feel ashamed to admit that I'd chosen this life out of necessity. The women around me nodded, shared their own struggles, and reminded me of the strength it takes to live this way. By the time the main RTR began, I felt ready to embrace the larger event. Men and women gathered for workshops on everything from vehicle maintenance to earning a remote income. The RTR also had a lively barter fair where I traded a handmade bracelet for a used camp chair. Around the campfire at night, I laughed more than I had in years. The people I met were unforgettable. A retired teacher showed me how to use her homemade water filtration system. A couple traveling in an old RV invited me to join their convoy to the next campsite. And a young artist painted a small mural on the side of my van, making Miss Daisy even more uniquely mine. Leaving the RTR, I felt lighter, more confident, and profoundly grateful. I realized that I wasn't just surviving this lifestyle, I was thriving. I'd gained not only practical skills, but also friendships and a sense of belonging that I hadn't felt in years. If you're a nomad, whether seasoned or new, I can't recommend the RTR enough. And for my fellow women on the road, the WRTR is a safe space to learn, grow, and connect. The desert may seem vast and empty, but at these gatherings it's filled with warmth, laughter, and a sense of community that will stay with you long after the campfires burn out.